As much as I like that song. Hello, everybody. Whoever's here. I honestly don't know. So, anyway. Just maneuvering something into position here. While I burp, apparently. Ooh. Hey, Lady Mage. But yeah. I have cats that are slightly panicking around me because their owner is not back yet and won't be back for another 2 weeks, but they don't understand the concept of time. Their owner's on a trip and will be gone for a while. The cats are a little concerned and jumping all around me. Luckily, I think I get most of them out of here when I close the door. So they can go panic out there instead of in my face, asking me to bring back their owner. At least I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. So what have we here? We have 6 out of the first 7 chapters of Live I'll Live completed. The sci-fi chapter is not incredibly long. It can take its sweet time. Hello, Anonymous. It can take its sweet time at points, but there is exactly 1 mandatory battle in this entire chapter. The rest is kind of just story. And you will see when we get there. But anyway, behold the transport ship Cogito Ergo Sum en route to planet Earth. Inside, a new kind of life form is being created. The robot created by Kato the mechanic will become intimately involved as events spiral out of control on board. So luckily we aren't going to get to a big pair of anime eyes staring at us right off the bat. And from Space Dock TSQ-05, we have our departure report. Vessel name Cogito Ergo Sum. Vessel type civilian transport, destined for Earth. We have 1 cargo, an alien life form, 5 crew members, 1 passenger, a military in charge of the cargo. And there's the ship. So on board cargo, we have an alien life form that is a large quadruped with unknown abilities and unknown organic structure. This is a hallway. Yeah, this is a lot house alien got started. Yes, it actually is. Amazingly enough. Orders from Earth with regard to the life form. We must study it in great detail, transport it to base at all costs. And 1 member wakes out of cryogenic sleep. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Welcome to the science fiction chapter, Mechanical Heart. Dot, dot, dot. And somebody's got finished on the mind here. It's like, huh, that's weird. That should have done it. So we're kind of at a stalemate here, because basically he has just pushed the switch that's powered on the robot, but the robot ain't moving. Luckily for us, we are this robot, and all we have to do is actually move to get this whole thing started. And he is inexplicably startled that he's built a functioning robot here. So he's going to speak to us like a little child, because effectively, this robot is akin to a little child. It has, like, no actual life experiences or anything like that. It just has basic intelligence. He's like, huh, don't have a name yet, but we could call you Rover, like an exploration vehicle. But that sounds like a dog's name. It's like, how about I be silly and give you a name completely opposite to what you are, and calls us Cube. So that is how we end with a spheroid named Cube. Just in case you're wondering, yes, the guy who named us is kind of, you know, being silly with the name. Actually, we do. He's like, well, maybe not. I'll think of something. And now he wants us to follow him directly. We have control. There's not much to poke at around in his quarters here. And these are Kato's quarters. We can look at his diary. And he's found that Prototype 1 ran some basic tests, and it turned out to be unsuccessful. Gathering data for Prototype 2, got the walking system done. Prototype 3, going well. Prototype 3 says, once I've completed my routine check, I'll run one last test. Only one more week till back on Earth, so we are presumably Prototype 3. And tomorrow the other 5 crew members will awaken from cold sleep. And he'd really like to get the robot working before then, and to his satisfaction, he has. Literally right before he needs to wake people up from cold sleep. And we can try to explore the ship, but anything that's interesting right now would be locked out. I have to register as a member of the crew. So we're walking towards one of the main terminals here. We talk to him. Should you be concerned about the other 2 prototypes? Well, they both were failures, so I don't see why. And the computer asked him to state his business. Need to register a new crew member. Crew member that is a worker robot. Which, in case you're, not keeping up, that's us. And at this point, we can actually name Cube to whatever we want to name him, but Cube is a perfectly good name for this robot. And I'm sure it'll never come up again that he initially wanted to call us Rover. I'm sure that will never pop up again. Yeah, so we can kind of wander around this ship at free will now. But if you want to get into a crew's individual cabin, you have to get their permission first. What if we rename ourselves Rover? It works. You can rename yourself Rover. And he wants us to follow him, go find him to perform an AI test. So let's see if I can avoid actually finding him. We can get a little idea of the layout of the ship. This is an elevator, which lets us go off this floor, but right now there's not a whole lot of reason to. So we're going to do it anyway. But floor 3, hey look, it's one of our, it's a possibly prototype number 2 that just doesn't power it up. Just kind of laying there in storage. So if we need spare parts, something breaks down, it looks like we have an entire body we can steal. This room, the main computer room, that doesn't let people in unless you have a good reason to be in there, because let's face it, the computer is kind of important for this ship. We have the cockpit. Since we've been in autopilot this whole time, we can actually see what's going on. And the communications desk here. The Watanabe communication system. Our communication system's fine. I'm sure the fact that it's named Watanabe means nothing. And then there's another elevator over here. So there are 2 elevators on this ship. One at the front and one at the back. Kind of important to remember. Because the ship, as you're seeing, doesn't have a whole lot of things to worry about. And here's the airlock. I'm sure having a little robot loose and where the airlock is, you know, no problem whatsoever. So we have some spacesuits here. One has the name Kirk attached to it. One has the name Kato. And one has the name Rachel. And let's save here. We are going to be saving a lot in this chapter, because you can do things like this. 2 switches here. Let's push them. We're in an airlock. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong. Oh, look, the outside door open. That looks like space. Oh, I'm sure button 2 shifts it closed, right? Oops, no, it doesn't. Shoomp. And in the end, a cube never made it to Earth. So let's not do that. Now that we know buttons 1 and 2 basically open the airlock inner and outer doors here, just to show you that this game will kill you, even when there's no combat around. And, this looks like a safe door to go in, but we can't go in it. It is securely locked at the moment. We have no access to this door, which has a little funky little symbol in front of it and big red and white or gray striped barrier around it. I'm sure that's perfectly fine. And back here is just this. So we fully explored level 3, we fully explored level 1. Let's see if I can explore more of level 2 without actually running into Kato. Over here, it kind of tells you what these sides are. Left is the common area, right is the sick bay and cold storage area. And the computer terminal room. If you walk up here, we can talk to the computer, say hi. We are the first robot Kato completed. Look forward to working with us. See, there's Kato. Let's go the long way. So there's Kato's room, where we came out of originally. This is a guest module for our military person. We do not have authorization to get in the room. This is Kirk's room. No authorization to go in there. This is Rachel's room. No authorization to go in there. Boy, these crew members sure don't trust the robot they've never met. Huey. Again, permission denied. And the captain's quarters. The captain is named Hall. H-O-L. But, you know, we don't get to go in his cabin either. And here we have a break room. And this break room has basically no power to it anywhere. Only thing we know is that the temperature is pretty normal. Yes, they are asleep. That's kind of what I was getting at here. And this little funky thing has no power to it. Going up here bypasses just a long, straight corridor. I swear, as many times as I've done this, I will forget most of the locations here. And so we're back to where Kato is. This is sickbay. We get sterilized. We go in here. And we have a telemeter. Running a checkup on the non-used sick bed there. And we can move the little scanner back and forth. So that is basically the ship. So now that we've fooled around that much, we've pretty much explored everywhere we can. That's pretty much all the locations in the chapter, minus the few rooms we couldn't get into yet. And he just told us, good job, even though we literally traveled the entire ship before going to see him. He's like, yeah, we have to sleep, but guess you don't need to. And he asks us to wake everyone up. Unlocks the door for us. So we have 4 more people that have woken up. We have Kato and the captain, who have awoken from sleep already. The reserve capsule. We push it. It opens up. Man with the red hair here. Who just kind of rolls over and looks back at us. There's a ship's captain's plate. He's already gone, though. Then we have the cargo handler, Huey. Who is still thawing out, apparently. We have the comm officer, Rachel. Who is still pretty much out of it. And we have the pilot, Kirk. And I can't tell you where all the characters are from here, but all the characters are named from various sci-fi ship-based media. Like, I mean, for example, Kirk here is obviously a reference to James T. Kirk, USS Enterprise, Star Trek universe, etc. I don't know who's from where, except for the corporal down there. And Hull, the captain, is actually a reference to Hal, the AI of the ship in 2001. So the crew is now going to talk smack on him a little bit for finally making a machine that doesn't fall apart once it's powered up. And Huey down there. Pretty sure Huey is a reference to somebody out of Aliens. It would not surprise me. And so Kirk, being the pilot, the brash jackass of the group, asks the robot to wake up Sleeping Beauty. And everybody else is in on this plan. But go on, give him a good whack. So Cube just kind of butts him a little bit with his forehead. It's like, Kirk, come on, I told you to lay. Ah! That type of thing. So Huey panicked. Huey was staring into the eyes of a robot that was butting him awake, and he panicked. It's normal slapstick comedy reaction. And there's Corporal Darth. Gee, isn't that just a name that inspires much confidence and trust? It was like, you ever hear of anyone who actually felt good after waking up from cryogenic stasis? So he's a little bit grumpy. And he is a corporal, which, if you are unfamiliar with military ranks, is like one step above private. Yet they give him this grizzled military thing, like he's, you know, a officer or something that's been through the wars. And he doesn't like robots. He does not care for Cube. Calls it a loose rodent. So yeah, we're gonna have a meeting in the break room. And Kato kind of tries to treat us like a little kid, basically, because as far as he's concerned, we are kind of his baby. He did make us. So we can try to wander the ship again, but there's literally no reason to at this moment because nothing has changed anywhere except the break room where people have gathered. So we can walk. And we have Kirk here, who is obsessed with a video game. Yeah, let's robot uprisings if people did what Kato did. And he got a high score. And we could take a shot at the game right now, but it would be kind of useless. Because there's something we need to get first before I want to mess with that. And Kirk is actually really, really good with the game. But we will take a shot at it. It's kind of useless to do so at this exact moment. Unless I manage to just beat the whole thing right here, which is possible, but not really likely. Because I don't have the strategies memorized. And Captain Square is basically a series of battles. That's all it is. So we have the captain here. He has one healing thing and a bunch of different abilities that allow him to fight various ways here. And there are 9 stages to this game. Some of them are dead freaking simple, like this one. Captain Square here does not level up. He's pretty much this, and each room, aside from this first one, is basically a puzzle room. All the battles in here, except for that first one, are just kind of puzzles. That's about it. I'm not quite in the right spot for that. But later on, we will be able to find an item that saves our progress in this minigame, which is kind of the reason I didn't really want to do too much with it right now. Because if we die, we go all the way back to stage 1. And you're making life difficult for me, aren't you? These first 2 stages are relatively easy. The second stage has a shot to actually kill you if you don't figure out how to attack the enemy in time. But these first 2 stages are pretty much here just to give you an idea of what your powers are able to do. Stages 3 through 7, on the other hand, are all ready and willing to kick you around like, you know, like a rock on a beach. Because now the puzzles actually begin. And the random placements in this one are going to be really freaking annoying. But what we need to do, we need to just let these water enemies get their little aqua flare off. Because what we need to do, basically, is kill off the red thing. We don't have the ability to actually do damage to it. That's water. That is water. It's harmful water. But we can hurt the water. We can hurt the little water fairly easily. We have a very difficult time hitting the red thing. And if we actually get right up next to the red thing, it will cast something that kills us in one shot. But now that we have successfully managed to get the water to douse the flame, so to speak, we should be able to... I think Supernova will actually hurt them. Yes, it will. And space page. The next stage is Mars. This thing, these guys will just out and out destroy you if you stay where you are. So you need to move, but where do you want to move to? Very good question. Yeah, that was the Earth stage. We will end the stages on Pluto. What we need to do is we need to kill the purple one, and the rest of these will break down in a hurry. So, which one there is Plasma Ball? We can try using Plasma Ball. It'll do some damage. But if we use it, it will just do healing counter. And then hurt itself again. Had to find a cat that decided to troll you by being asleep on a downstairs beanbag. Huh. Usually they'll have already moved down to start smacking us. But right now the game is being inordinately kind to us. There we go. Now they're actually going to start trying to hurt us. And now you see the gimmick of this chapter. Your plasma ball can't go through things, but something else can. Where is it? And see, it will counter by healing its friends, but every time it heals itself, it does damage to itself to do so. And normally that little sword attack I'm using would knock something back a step, but it has nowhere to go. So the gimmick to this is if you start hurting anything around the gray thing, or the purple thing, depending on how you're looking at it, it will just, yeah, they still don't kind of attack us. I think it's because, accidentally, that counter that it's using to heal them kind of knocks them back in the initiative a little bit. So I think as long as we keep making it counter, it keeps slowing them down. And it is just going to take a while to sit here and beat this thing down. But this is absolutely the safest possible method. So now that we've moved on past Mars, we go to Jupiter. And this, how do I put this? This will actually kick you around a bit until you figure out that these enemies, they can span the entire width of the field horizontally with their attack, but they can't attack straight up and down. So, you go to the tile that you would have the least things actually attacking you. And we have an ability called Pi Mason Shot, which does this. Which means we're still going to get hit by this pulsar walk thing it does. And now we've got a safe spot. So if we can just stay directly under him as much as possible, which doesn't always work because they will do that. And he can get it off a few times in the time it takes us to charge up this shot. Easy enough. You have enough hit points to survive it. It's not a big deal. And these things, yeah, these things are kinda nasty. They don't move around a whole lot. That's kinda the only real grace you have. But there are almost no safe spaces in this area. They can attack 2 squares away, and they will move to actually target you. Can I hit with the plasma ball? No, not unless I get too close. So, we get in a spot. Nope, that'll put us right within range. Attacking sword only goes there, that's right. So, we can do this to hit one of them for small damage. But they have a counter that does that to you. So your best bet is to use Plasma Charge a few times while you are in safe zone. Because Plasma Charge is, believe it or not, a really, really fast attack. And it gives you upgrades. and we actually want to hit them with Plasma Ball. But just to show you Pi Mason Shot, which will hit. And notice they just aren't moving. They have the ability to move. They have the perfect ability to move. Like that. They just don't. I don't understand why, other than making this stage actually beatable for us. But now that he's moved out of range, what's happening? They're being really annoying. That's what's happening. And sometimes they do that. Sometimes they manage to counter you if you do a thing like that. If you're on the wrong tile, which we were. The gold tiles are electric damage tiles. Our plasma shot we're using to fight them will actually create those. Some enemies are healed by damage tiles like that. Okay, this one is kind of a nightmare, but it's not the worst thing ever. These 5 tiles are not your real enemy, but they will do real damage to you if you're not careful. So we need to walk under here, do this. Which, you see, that didn't actually hurt us, it's just the electric field hurt that landed on us. So we can do this and hit all of them at once. Which you would think actually kills them, but it kinda doesn't. Create supernova here. But you notice the shock message doesn't actually hurt us at all. It's just the field it leaves behind actually does the hurting. So now that we got supernova laid down, heal up a little bit from the damage, gain some stats. And do it again. Yeah, you'll see the electric tiles moving. And you can kind of tell which one they are because they have the white and black on them reversed. That's about the only thing you can actually tell. Eventually, Ah, you saw that? So now let's get down here. Just re-heal up because that bug gets near us, we're gonna have to move. But all in all, the little tiles aren't actually all that bad. They're annoying. And yeah, the bug is actually the thing you need to kill in this fight. This fight is just annoying. Because you're kind of forced to hurt yourself a whole lot with this fire field. And it has that, which actually hurts a lot. See if we can stay out of range of its ion head counter. There we go. The trick is to catch it, but, you know, catch it on a fire field because it only takes 1 damage from anything you could possibly do to it. And now, welcome to hell. This is the next to last stage. Your real goal is to beat the star you saw flash for a second after all the other stars. It's called Lala. It is the second star. It is the star in the second row down and second row to the left. That is your, that's your goal. However, there's one problem. Everything here does a ton of damage. And at the very start, you can't actually hurt anything. You're not you're not powered up enough to do it. So if your first 2 moves are not a plasma charge to raise your stats, immediately followed by a supernova, which will get something shooting at you because that starbuster moves pretty quickly, you're not going to survive. But you only have to do 1 damage to anything, and you couldn't do any damage until you actually plasma charge yourself. So now, every time you even come close to getting You need to supernova fairly quickly. And they can't attack you till they get within 2 squares. But try to keep yourself to the point where you can at least survive 1 Starbuster. And notice how the Lala is staying pretty much out of this. And after you get that first plasma charge, with every one of these you do, and you may still well get Starbustered again before the end of the fight. That's why you heal a whole lot to begin with. Like that. But thankfully, you've hopefully managed to get yourself enough space by the time the supercharged one gets near you. That you actually got a few spots of field that are kind of clear of enemy influence here. Yeah, boy. We could be in real... Yep, we're dead. And that's it. That's game. So no matter how good your plan is, just bad luck.